Now let's add an activity to read to-do information and then actually save onto the database. First, this is a user home activity page. Instead of this email icon, let's change it to plus icon. So by clicking this floating action button, you can find one of the property source competitor. So here drawable from Android, I can find icon, menu, add plus sign. So that's better. So that the second one, the class representing one to do, we need to change a few things. First, I want to add the ID of each document in the database. The ID is a unique kind of a primary key. So we need it eventually to revise the document or delete it. So the ID is of a string type. Let me give a blank as the initial value. And from the add activity, we are going to compose a my to do object and then pass it back and forth between two activities. To do so, as we have studied earlier, to pass an object between activities, it has to implement a parseable interface. Then let's implement all of the required ones. Okay, now let's add an empty activity. So add to do activity. So when floating action button is clicked, we are going to launch add to do activity and then get the result back, and then we are going to store that one into real database. So at this moment, let me comment those parts. And this one, we are going to launch a new activity, intent, the context, and then add to do activity, class.java, start activity for result, then intent, import intent library. And when you start activity for result, we need to send the request code. So it's add request code for add activity. So let's define request code add is 1 there. So in add to do, let's prompt for title of new task, new to do task. Then contents, this is wider and the multi-line. So for this one, we should allow multi-line data there. And then we are going to ask for category. So button group, radio group, down here, snap, 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 and then this radio group, the wrap content, red content. So let's add 3 buttons. One, two, three. Sometimes it's easier to add from component tree. And then we need to edit the radio group orientation. Orientation, horizontal. There. Finally, let's add a button. So by clicking this button, we are going to add ID, add title, add title, title. Oh, this has to be hint, okay, not actual text. So hint, hint, title, ID, add activity, contents, no text, but hint, hint, contents. First radio button, ID, add cat 0 button, category 0, cat 0 label, cat 0, category 0, ID, add cat 1 button, cat 1 button, cat 1, ID, add cat 2, cat 2 button, cat 2. Now finally button, ID, add a button, label, add a button, add a new to do. There. So in user home, as a floating action button is clicked, add to do activity is launched with the request code specified. In add to do activity, we read says add button is clicked in the event listener. we read those info, title, ID, add the title, text to string, trim, contents, ID, add the contents, text to string, trim. And then category is if ID cat 0 button is checked, then 0, else if ID cat 1 button is checked, then 1, else 2. So we assume one of the radio button is pre-selected, then choose one of them and say checked as initial value. Then we can compose to the object, to do, my to do, title, contents, category. Since we are adding new ones, we can set timestamp, system, current, Malaysia. So now let's set result, result OK, and then data intent. So data is an intent, and then into this import. So this import on this data, put extra using an extra key. So extra. So let's define extra key in one place in the user home activity. So here let's define const val extra add. We need to define a string. So extra add activity. So in add to do, so let's use extra add and then data, since we had this to do object in a parcelable, so we can send not we can send the to the object through extra. It's a parcelable interface is there. So once we set the result back, we'd better just quit the current activity so we can go back to user home activity right away without the manual interaction. So in user home activity, we can get result, override, not this one, override function on activity result. This is the one. So at this moment we are going to do most of these things. So let me copy those code we get earlier and then put down here, then have this uncommented. So what we basically need to do is as follows: get the user email, that's the collection name, and then if user email is null, something went wrong. So let's stop. Then database collection, and then set the document. So we need to receive recover the to do object. So that is to do. We can recover it from data intent returned. Get parcelable extra. What we need is my to do object, and then key is extra add. Here on this, if data is null, then we cannot proceed. So do that part there. So once we have the to-do object recovered coming from the add to-do activity, now we can save it. When you save, we need the document ID automatically generated. So to do so, we need a reference to the document. So we get docref by doing database collection, user email, and document there. So by calling up to document, what you get is a reference to the document to be created. So once we have that, so we can call set method from docref there. The reason why we do this one is that once the save is successfully done from here, so what we do is of course we toast the message here, but we need to have the to-do object's ID ref doc ref ID. So to-do list has a ID for this one, and then we want to display that information eventually on the screen. So at this moment we just toast that editor, and then we are not going to use at this moment, but in the next video we are going to utilize the ID automatically generated when it's saved, and using this object we are going to display on the screen. So let's test up to here. So here is a Firestore console. Sign in. As I click add button, let's have title 2. Let's give all twos. Category 1, add a new to do, editor, and then we can see that from the console, category 1, title 2 is editor.